Alright, this is a massive rebunk for Dragon Ball, so those who don't use their brain please stay away from this video. So the first downplay is that Dragon Ball has a single time axis because of this book shown in the series which looks like a wormhole, but the fact is that these downplayers don't even prove that this particular book is objectively true for the verse. Let me tell you that Bulma was thinking it is a regular time travel in a single space-time continuum, but later she realized that the timelines in which they travel aren't actually linear timelines but parallel worlds with different histories, and even when Beerus destroys Zamasu of their timeline, Whis tells that Beerus has created a new parallel world with a different history. Also dude, it is literally funny that you guys think there is only 5 time rings in total. Come and grow up a little mentally. By the way, this proves decoherence in the parallel worlds in Dragon Ball, which means that it is many world interpretations, and your shit opinion doesn't matter about any interview which isn't even the professor's subjective opinion. I think everyone here knows that Dragon Ball is based on Asian mythology, and even Goku himself is inspired by Sun Wukong, who is a character from the novel Journey to the West. But the thing you might don't know is that there are several temples of Sun Wukong in China, and the people who worship Wukong there tells that Sun Wukong was an actual deity their ancestors has encountered with, and if you will research about these things more, you will be able to find that even some monks of those areas and some local people also tells that the Sun Wukong they worship is no other than Hanuman. Hanuman was an ape like a human who is said to be the avatar of Lord Shiva, and according to Hindu scriptures he is still alive in this world, and you can also find the proofs of Hanuman worldwide. But now you might be thinking that why am I suddenly talking about Hanuman, but there is a connection. Dragon Ball verse has religions like Buddhism and Hinduism, and even the RPG guidebook states that the cosmology of Dragon Ball is based on Asian mythology, whose source is Hindu scriptures. Therefore you can see similarities in Hindu gods and different mythological gods of Asian countries. I have noticed one thing, that the downplayers of Dragon Ball are so much obsessed with Western knowledge. Like they say Dragon Ball doesn't have many world interpretations, Dragon Ball doesn't have any powerful concepts like modal realism, or they also mention concepts like Platonism or Jung archetypes. They also argue that other world has kilometers and it has gravity, so it is not an abstract realm, etc, etc. So let's use the concept from Asian mythology and check how strong is Dragon Ball. The concept of ki is also known as chi or kai, and in Hinduism kai is known as prana, which is the life force energy in every being. By the way, do you know the concept of prana inspired Nikola Tesla?
He met Swami Vivekananda in New York City in the late 1890s. Swami Vivekananda was probably the first yogi to come to this country with Eastern philosophy and present it to the West. It was at Swami Vivekananda's lectures that Tesla hooked up the Sanskrit terminology, prana, akasha, and concepts of the ether that led him to determine, or actually led him to a point where he would describe succinctly physics of the universe, physics of matter creation in this dimension.
The cosmos of Dragon Ball is based on the philosophy of Samkhya. Samkhya views reality as composed of 2 independent principles, Purusha and Prakrti. Purusha is the cosmic being or self, awareness, and universal principle, whose portion is in every being as an individual soul. Prakriti is matter or nature. It is inactive and unconscious. Purusha defines the masculine and Prakriti defines the feminine nature of the universe, and when the union of them creates life. Ardhanarishvara is the depiction of Purusha and Prakriti, where Shiva represents masculinity and Parvati represents femininity. Purusha, who is Shiva, is said to be present everywhere in the universe according to the Hindu scriptures, and also by the way the Higgs boson, which is also known as the God particle, which is said to be the biggest discovery of 21st century, and was discovered in the CERN laboratory. There is a statue of Natarajan in the lobby of it. And the famous physicist Fritjof Capra explains that modern physics has shown that the rhythm of creation and destruction is not only manifest in the turn of the seasons and in the birth and death of all living creatures, but is also the very essence of inorganic matter, and that, for the modern physicists, then, Shiva's dance is the dance of subatomic matter. And also in his book he writes that now science has come to a conclusion that the perpetual of creation and destruction of the universe is like the cosmic dance of Shiva. In the fight with Frieza, the spirit bomb Goku used was made by the energy of the universe. If you don't know, then spirit bomb in Japanese is called Genki Dama, where Genki, which means origin key. Genki is the original key of all matters. That is to say, matter in our world is composed of molecules, and below molecules are atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, ions, neutrinos, quarks, gluons, and progressing infinitesimally downward to more microcosmic particles. Genki is composed of the characteristic of the universe and is virtuous and pure. It is the higher level, original, divine part of all matter, and it is extremely dense, refined and powerful, which means energy from both organic and inorganic things in the universe, both consciousness and unconsciousness, which are Purusha and Prakriti, as I mentioned earlier. And Dhamma is the character representing the connection between heaven and earth. The single drop stroke on the bottom right of Dhamma implies heaven's essence on earth. More commonly, Dhamma can mean ball, jade, pearl, or a round jewel-like object. In these cases it's usually pronounced Tama. So it means Genki Dhamma is a ball made with both consciousness and unconsciousness and is divine. Later on, Atman, which is that portion of Purusha which is innocent, can be translated as consciousness or soul or spirit. It solely refers to pure consciousness or witness consciousness, beyond identification with phenomena. Nirvana, which is said to be a transcendental state or a reality transcendent to the entire world of mundane experience, a reality transcendent to all the realms of phenomenal existence, whose philosophy is scaled to outerversal, gets outclassed by Atman. Even the existence of Atman is more complex than the concept of Nirvana, and no, Nirvana doesn't actually mean moksha, which is called salvation. Nirvana is a transcendental state in this world, but Atman is literally the portion of the Supreme. The God, Atman itself, is transcendental and pure, which doesn't belong to the illusionary or materialized world. The source of ki is Atman, and to attain the powers from prana and Atman, you have to focus on the ultimate reality, which is Brahm, and it can be done by yoga, in general, which is called meditation. You might have seen that no matter how strong a character becomes or is, meditation is a primary practice in their training, and even in their physical training, religious practices are highly involved. And it is because by focusing on the Atman of ours and experiencing the Brahm, we can get many siddhis. Siddhis are nothing but supernatural, magical, or you can say metaphysical, abstracted powers. There are hundreds and thousands of siddhis with their own speciality, which is seen in the show too, as someone can do magic with the power of his ki, someone can heal with power ki like Dend or any other Namekian. Yadrats can teleport, which is also a siddhi in Hinduism of teleportation. So you can imagine that even a normal ki blast is how strong in comparison to the tearing system. Now if I talk about the cosmology, it would make them even more stronger, and there are still different ki like God ki, destruction ki. If I talk about the rebirths in Dragon Ball, then it's common, like reincarnation of King Piccolo into the current Piccolo and reincarnation of Kid Buu into Ua. And not just in Dragon Ball, but the actual modern science believes in it, explained by the famous astronomer Carl Sagan.
The Hindu religion is the only one of the world's great faiths dedicated to the idea that the cosmos itself undergoes an immense, indeed an infinite, number of deaths and rebirths. It is the only religion in which the timescales correspond, no doubt by accident, to those of modern scientific cosmology. Its cycles run from our ordinary day and night to a day and night of Brahma, 8.64 billion years long, longer than the age of the Earth or the Sun, and about half the time since the Big Bang. And there are much longer time scales.
According to some sources, Kais are inspired from the Lokapals in Hinduism, and Lokapals are created by Brahma, and even this is recognized by modern science.
Vishnu expands himself in the form of Mahavishnu, who lies on the causal ocean. He is sleeping and dreaming, and in this dreaming state, which is technically called susupti in Sanskrit, when he breathes out, millions of universes expand from his body, and when he breathes in, all the universes are drawn back into his body. When the universes are expanded, he injects into them conscious selves. For me, it's interesting that there's some parallels with modern cosmology, that astrophysicists are now positing the existence of what they call multiverses or multiple universes, but it's an idea that was expressed thousands of years ago in the pages of the Puranas, like the Bhagavad Purana or Srimad Bhagavatam.
Just think, Vishnu sleeps in the cosmic ocean. The lotus of the universe grows from his navel. On there sits Brahma, the creator. Brahma opens his eyes, and the world comes into being. Governed by an Indra, closes his eyes, and the world comes out of being. Opens his eyes, the world comes into being, closes his eyes, and the life of a Brahma is 432,000 years, and he dies. A lotus goes back, another lotus, another Brahma. Then think of the galaxies beyond galaxies in infinite space. Each a lotus, with the Brahma sitting on it, opening his eyes, closing his eyes with interest.
Om is a sacred sound, syllable, mantra and an invocation in Hinduism, which is also recognized by modern science.
What is the sound that is not made by any two things striking together? It is Om. It is the sound of the energy of the universe of which all things are manifestations. The energy is what underlies all the forms, E equals mc squared. And the sound of that energy is said to be Om.
You can check a website named Science and Non-Duality where in the home page you can see Om equals mc squared. If the downplayers are still coping, then let me show you some statements by great personalities. This is what Carl Sagan said. Erwin Schrödinger, yeah, the same guy who gave Schrödinger's equation which helps you to wank type 4 multiverse, and he also gave Schrödinger's cat theory, so he said this. J. Robert Oppenheimer says. The famous physicist Niels Bohr said. Hans Peter Durr says. Werner Heisenberg said. Yes, VS BattleWiki believers, VS BattleWiki is inferior to CSAP, in both scientific and philosophical aspects. By the way, the stuff I told you here aren't even the basics of the Vedic cosmology and philosophy, so if anyone is thinking of it this simple, then you're completely wrong. Even in today's era, physicists are trying to understand these ancient scriptures and are completely shocked, like the concept of Hiranyagarbha or the concept of nothingness before the creation and after the destruction. So this was all for today. Make sure to like the video and share this as much as you can. This video took a lot of days because I had to do deep research, so please show some appreciation to this hard work. Till then, peace out.